Hi, Brad. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Good. So, we are talking about this upcoming music, and I know for you, you're saying that the new material you're working on is really personal. So, what topics are you going to be covering in this new music that you hope resonates with your fans?
You know, I think I think country music fans, uh, in a handful of ways, but are different than like the general popular music fans in a way that it's very wholesome. I think we saw when Thomas Rhett got married and started having babies, and all of his fans gravitated towards that. There was a time when I was living in LA where it was like, if you're going to sign a record deal and you have a girlfriend, don't tell the world you have a girlfriend. Be single and available. Seem available but never be available. That was like the world I came up in. And there's something about country music where it's wholesome and they want to support families and that whole thing. And I love that. And so for me to be able to just write songs kind of like I have walked through my life, it's like there was the breakup song, there was that was about my wife, and then there was the song about getting back together with my wife, and now we have this child, and there's a song about my daughter. And I think this record is important to me because it represents this stage in my life, and it's a very different stage than I've ever been in before. I didn't go into this thinking I had any idea about how to raise a child, let alone a little girl. But that's what I'm in the middle of now, and I watch that kind of coloring my songwriting and affecting my songwriting. So the only other thing besides being a new dad being reflected in the songwriting is that we did try to push kind of tempo and sonically try to do some things that were a little outside the box for me, just because I know I have kind of lived in that ballad world selfishly probably longer than the I know the fans are still turning that on in the car, but like for radio, that you need to change it up. And so we've definitely kind of pushed that line a little bit as well. So there's sonically some things you haven't heard. There's more tempo. There's a lot of like kind of dad and husband stuff in there as well.
So, I did read, Brett, that you want to record your own version of Brad Paisley's Letters to Me. So I want you to elaborate a little bit more on that and how Brad has influenced your music.
So that's funny. So almost what I said.
Okay.
I have a song on the new album that I wrote.
Okay.
That is kind of like my version of that. And we went into the write talking about how much we loved that song and how we wanted to write a version of that song. But knowing that with all the rules and everything, we don't want to copy that song. We don't want to step on that song. But it was such a cool message to be able to say, if I could talk to me at 17, I would say, settle down, bud. It's going to be all right, And so we did. We actually wrote it. It's going to be on the new record. It is one of my favorite songs on the new record. And I think you probably know this, but my first year when I signed my record deal, one of the first tours I got was this Brad Paisley tour where it was associated with college football. And so I went around just as a trio without a full band. And, I've said this about Tim McGraw before, and I'll say this generally as well. When you kind of idolize and look up to somebody, it's almost scary to get to meet them because it would be way easier for them to not live up to your expectations, and then you're disappointed. And Brad's one of those guys that couldn't have been nicer, couldn't have been more professional, couldn't have been more incredible on stage. He just outlived any expectation I might have had. And so for him to be relevant for this long, to continue to put out good songs, to have songs like that inspired a song years later for me, and to also have been so gracious and kind to me on the road. I'm a big fan of Brad and his music for sure.
And have you ever thought of, like making a song together?
Yeah, I mean, I aspire to make music with a lot of people that probably still wouldn't take my phone call. He might take the phone call, but I don't know if I can get him on a record. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think right now collaborations are happening way more than they ever were in the past. So I think anything's on the table for sure. But this album specifically feels like it's different and fresh enough from anything that I've done that I almost don't want to confuse people about what this project is about by putting other voices on it, on this one specifically. But in the future, nothing is off the table for sure.